Welcome to the Lemons and Pineapples podcast. I'm your host, Emma O'Brien, personal development coach, HeartMath practitioner, dog photographer, and entrepreneur. In this podcast, I share tools, strategies, and amazing guest interviews to help you improve your mindset and your well-being with a sprinkle of fun and probably some mention of dogs along the way. So without further ado, let's squeeze the day. Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the podcast. Today I'm going to be talking to you about procrastination, and I'm going to share with you 5 tools that you can use to help you break the habit of procrastination and actually get back into action with the things that you need to get done but are not quite able to start with or are stuck with. So procrastination happens to everybody, and from my own experience, procrastination tends to show up when I'm overwhelmed, when I've got a lot to do, maybe I've got a big project, I've got lots of other things happening, and there's an awful lot going on. I tend to not quite know where to start, what to get going with, and I'll feel a big pull to go and watch Netflix or clean out a random cupboard, or start spring cleaning the kitchen. And one thing you'll get to know about me is that I tend to avoid being in the kitchen. So if I'm thinking about spring cleaning the kitchen, the overwhelm is bad. Obviously, as somebody who runs 2 businesses, I've got a lot happening and I don't want to be sitting feeling stuck. It's counterproductive. It's not useful. And, these are tools that I've used in my own life to get myself out of procrastination, and there are also tools I share with my coaching clients to really help them get back into action as well. The first thing to think about if you are having a procrastination problem is to get really clear on the why of what you're doing. Often, if we're not procrastinating because we're massively overwhelmed by having too many things and not knowing where to start, sometimes there isn't enough motivation to do something. So it can be really useful to get back to basics and actually sit and think, why do I have this on my task list? Why did I decide I was going to do this? What's the why behind it? And if you can get yourself back in touch with the why, if it's important enough for you, that can be a really useful thing to help you get started. And often with procrastination, the trouble with it is just getting started. Once you start, it's much easier to keep the progress of something going. Sometimes it's just the starting. And it might be that you just need to think about your why. If your why is not big enough, exciting enough, or enticing enough for you, can you outsource the task to somebody else? There's a question I'll throw in there. Can you give the job to somebody else to do if you really don't want to do it? And then it can just get done. You don't have to worry about it anymore. That is one big part of it. So point number 1, get clear on your why. And if you've got no why, pay somebody else to do it. Bribe somebody else, swap it with somebody else, whatever it takes, get somebody else to do it. Number 2 is to plan your time well. Like I've said, procrastination and overwhelm often come hand in hand. And generally speaking, you probably do have enough time to get stuff done. It's just a struggle to prioritize it and a struggle to fit things in. So sometimes you need to kind of take a step back from your schedule and actually really make the time to put the tasks in, so you can get them done. For anybody who's listening to this who has a time management challenge, let's call it that, or struggles with time management, I have a free time management masterclass. I'm going to pop the link in the show notes for you. It's instant access. You can watch that, and I run through in a bit more detail some of the strategies that I use for effective time management and strategies I teach people. So you've got access to that free resource if time management is a problem for you. The third thing is to break big tasks down into smaller chunks. And if you're really battling with this, is break it down into literally the smallest, tiniest chunk that will get you started. It might be something like opening an email and tick, task 1 done. sometimes when we've got something happening that we're really struggling to get going with, we just avoid it entirely. So what is the smallest possible thing you can do to just get yourself started with the task? And then have a look at it. If you're able to look at what needs to happen to get you from start to finish, can you break it down into smaller chunks and then start to pop those smaller chunks into your time schedule and actually make it a lot more manageable? Not that I eat elephants, and I don't think very many people do, but there's that lovely phrase of how do you eat an elephant, and it's one bite at a time. So if you can apply that principle, and maybe it's a chocolate elephant that you've got from the candy store rather than an actual elephant. Don't encourage the eating of animals on this podcast. Okay, and then point number 4 is to, once you've got your tasks broken down into manageable chunks and you're starting to really get to grips with what needs to happen to get your procrastination stopped and some action started, is to create yourself a manageable to-do list. Now, I think sometimes to-do lists can be really overwhelming because if you make it too long, you never really get anything ticked off. And if you are continually unable to complete a to-do list, it can be really demoralizing. So I encourage you to create a to-do list that at the end of each day you can achieve. It is a wonderful self-confidence booster. It is a wonderful mindset shifter. It's a wonderful mood enhancer to be able to complete a to-do list. I know it sounds so simple, but if you can finish a day and have everything done, you will feel a sense of accomplishment that will boost you up for being able to get back to the tasks and know you can accomplish things the following day. When we continually don't accomplish things, it's a real confidence zapper. And it feels horrible. So set yourself up to win, and then you will be more likely to be able to keep the progress going when you've got something happening. You know, procrastination is often ongoing projects that need to happen. Number 5, a really valuable tool I'm going to share with you is to remove distractions. Remove as many distractions as possible. Pinging telephones, pinging email notifications on computers and laptops. It pings and it pulls our attention away. So if you can block out time, however your most effective time management and time working tool is, if you can switch your phone off even for an hour to get through a task and switch off your notifications so that you aren't being pulled away from the task, that will be really, really useful to help you get more done. I think for people who work from home, this can be quite a challenge, especially if there's other family members around at home. But it might just mean putting a boundary down and saying, if you've got small humans that live in the house with you, saying, kids, I've got something really important to do. Please, can I have an hour? And then when I'm done, I'll come and do Lego with you, color with you, whatever they want. But sometimes just to be able to put that boundary down and say to other people in the house, please, I need an hour to not be disturbed here. And that will help you get done. Because being distracted with people popping in and asking you questions or needing things from you just breaks focus. And the more your focus is broken, the longer it takes for a task to be completed. The same goes for at work. I know a lot of people who work in an office environment can have constant interruptions of people opening the door, people wanting something. So if you're able to put that boundary down and just guard your time, you will find you get more done. Tasks will expand to fill the time you give them. So if you can grab yourself a chunk of an hour or 40 minutes over the course of a day, you'll find you get a lot more done than trying to say, I'm going to sit down for 6 hours and smash through this, because chances are you might not. So we also need to be gentle with ourselves in the process of completing tasks. So I'll invite you, if this has resonated, to go and have a look at that time management masterclass that I have, because that will be really, really useful. I share quite a real arsenal of very, very helpful tools in there to help you manage time better. Because once we get this time piece in place, often the procrastination is far less, because sometimes we procrastinate because we think, I've got this thing to do, I don't have enough time to do it today, I'm going to push it out to tomorrow, and and ad infinitum, so it goes on tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. So do have a look at that. It's going to be really, really helpful for you. I hope today's been helpful, talking about helping you stop procrastinating. And the last little bonus tip I will give you is it's really helpful to have an accountability partner for when you're getting stuff done. When I'm working with a coach and when I'm coaching clients, accountability is a big part of that relationship. And having somebody that you are accountable to can really help to spur you on to get a task completed. This can also look like having a mastermind group that you set up of fellow, let's say if it's a business piece, fellow business owners. It might look like having an accountability partner at work, but sometimes just having somebody else to say, hey, did you get that done? And for you to be able to say, yeah, I did, and for them to cheer you on and congratulate you and vice versa. We spur each other on, and if we can encourage each other, it does make life a lot easier. My encouragement for you, try out these tools. Let's get out of procrastination into action and get stuff going. I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you've enjoyed it, please share with your friends and be sure to leave me a 5-star rating and review, especially if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. To find out more about my one-on-one coaching, please visit my website, which is emmaobriencoach.com. And remember, folks, when life gives you lemons, you can always choose another fruit. See you next time.